You know what would have worked in this case? You know what would have seriously worked in this case? Is if instead of trying to remake a classic by race swapping, maybe what you should have done was, I don't know, maybe made it its own thing so that way you could like franchise it, make more movies in the future. Maybe, a little bit of money that you do make that's actually over budget could actually be used to put into action figures, stuff like that. You could have done that. I mean, if you had done that, you probably would not be in the situation that you are in now, Disney. That is right. That is correct. If you clicked on this video, then yes, you saw the title and you automatically assumed that it was coming because, yes, we all know the Little Mermaid flopped because of that R word.
Released in China, by far the worst showing among Disney's live-action adaptations. The movie is also struggling badly in South Korea, where it has earned $4.4 million through June 4th.
By R word, obviously, I mean racism. Now, guys, I said in the previous two videos that I did on this topic, which, by the way, will be in the description box of this video here, that countries in Asia, I primarily pointed at China, even though I had sat back and thought about it. And of course, before I could even say anything, I found out that it was South Korea. I found out it was pretty much all of East Asia, all of Southeast Asia, not to mention the fact that people are already bringing up the whole Idris Elba, James Bond thing, which, by the way, I will talk about here soon, because I've never actually been, how do I say, not big on that, but then again, at the same time, though, I've also said this should probably be its own thing. We'll get to that here soon. And also a comment that one of my subscribers made about this entire ordeal that actually kind of coincides with that. This person knows who they are. I've already informed said subscriber that I would bring it up because, well, I don't like to give away subscriber comments or names, so that way people will not, how do I say, jump on that person's account and just start giving them all kinds of hell or anything. It's just security purposes, the reason why I don't do it. So what did I say in the previous two videos? I said that The Little Mermaid was probably not making any money globally because of the fact that the Chinese market doesn't exactly... they don't exactly like people of color. They never really and truly have. But then again, though, I do remember that it was this whole campaign called Stop Asian Hate, in which a lot of, well, I'm just showing you this right here and statistics. I can't actually say it out loud or else YouTube will find a way to demonetize the video and there not be any actual ad revenue on it. But then again, at the same time, though, ad revenue or no ad revenue has never stopped me. But still, at the same time, that I need to kind of like self-censor on that one there. But still, here's the deal. This movie right here failed for multiple reasons, okay? And you guys can sit here and say, well, it's because you're some freaking racist, bigoted white... No. When the trailer of this film came out, people were already dousing this video with dislikes, okay? It got literal hell ratioed out of it for a multitude of reasons, partly because of the race swapping, partly because it was a remake, and quite frankly, we're just tired of remakes as a whole. To go on top of that, not only that, but also people were kind of making fun of the fact that Disney would even do this, especially to a film that came out in 1989. As I've said before, remakes, if done properly, okay, but we're kind of getting a lot of them. And here's something else, too. The cope that we're hearing online is that the amount of money that was said to be made is not that bad. There's a problem, though. It was set to make, the goal was supposed to be $620 million worldwide. It hasn't even begun to crack that. They're not even breaking even. If you're not even breaking even, the film is seen as a flop. And then to go on top of that, the company itself also loses money. So once again, Disney is about to lose money. Also, something else too. I came across this video right here from World Class Bullshitters, pretty good channel too. And right now, Disney's not exactly doing well on the action figure market, especially when it comes to say Marvel and all the other products of which dolls and toys come with. And I'm pretty sure there was probably going to be some type of toy line to go along with this movie here. But then again, though, we will see what happens because obviously it's not making a whole lot of money internationally. It is making some money here in the States. But then again, though, as I have said before, yeah, it's only breaking even towards the initial goal that it needed to have. So obviously the entire thing is a flop. So why are people once again blaming it on racism? Well, here is the deal, okay? Anytime something does not work out, there's this massive movement to kind of cope and project all the problems that you may or may not have or you probably did not anticipate that came up, and all of a sudden you'll start blaming everyone else. Fact of the matter is that there are a lot of reasons why it is that this film right here did not make the money, or has not made the money it was set to make. I mean, I showed you guys in the first video I did on this topic why it was that people were getting into fist fights inside movie theaters and people wanted their money back. I don't think it had anything to do with the movie. It's just probably just people just acting up, people who just didn't know how to act in front of kids, people who probably just got upset about this smallest, slightest thing and showed their immaturity. I mean, that's pretty much what it boiled down to there. But the thing is this right here. As I've said before, after a while, when you have so many remakes, it gets to the point to where it is repetitive and people are probably not going to want to watch it. Go back to when this entire thing got ratioed to begin with. They were ratioing it for every single reason in the world, and once again, people immediately jumped to that R word. They immediately jumped to racism when it could actually have a whole list or a whole myriad of factors. But one thing is for damn sure. It's obviously, and that's pretty much that people in Asia aren't exactly okay with race swap. It did make money. It made money here in the United States. It made money here in a domestic market where some people who may have a little bit of nostalgia actually went to the theater to see the film. It just didn't make the money that it needed to make to even break even. And of course, a lot of that had to do with what I said before, the international market. Preferably the market that exists in Asia, you know, China, South Korea, you know, all those places there, Thailand, you know, Southeast Asia as a whole, probably Japan. And I've already explained to you guys in the previous two videos why that is the case. So you got to look at yourself in the mirror and you got to ask yourself a question. Are these remakes a good idea? Is race swapping a good idea, especially for a classic story? A classic story that, by the way, got the story told and told brilliantly within 90 minutes, and it took you 2 hours and 15 minutes to tell this one here, and then to go on top of that, you had to completely change every aspect of it, including having a white prince, but then having a black mother to go along with that, and then you went out of your way to make the female, the girl boss in here, be the girl boss and rescue him. I don't know about you guys, but in my life, and I know this is anecdotal, but I'm pretty sure a lot of women, even though they may not want to say it out loud, they'll tell you that they prefer to have the man rescue them. It typically doesn't tend to work out the other. It typically doesn't tend to work the other way around. Demasculated men are not exactly what we call attractive, at least not beyond the first couple of weeks. It's just how things happen. Okay, it's just how the story goes. You're ruining great films with these remakes. Not only are you ruining these great films with these remakes, you're also pushing a social justice warrior message. And at the same time, you're also putting the actress, the very young actress who, quite frankly, could have been written a lot better or had a story better designed for her. You're actually ruining her career by having her being subjected to all this scrutiny because Disney, for whatever reason, wanted to play fast and loose with a good old-fashioned remake that, quite frankly, just did not need to be made. Which brings me to my final point. A point that I think a lot of people have already gotten pissed off and cut the video off on, but still at the same time, though, that's because they probably didn't like the initial seconds of me explaining to them why it was this film failed. So let me go ahead and say this. The subscriber that I was talking about, and like I said before, guys, I don't give away subscriber names. I don't give away subscriber counts. I don't even show subscriber comments for security purposes, said it was a good film. It's just a shame this entire thing has gone the way it has gone. Essentially, that's basically what it was said. It's just narrowing it down, how I perceived it. And why could it not be its own thing? Well, I got to agree with that. Why couldn't it be its own thing? You see, the problem that we have is that we're race swapping a lot of classic roles. Why can't you just be creative and just write a new story? I mean, it tells me that Hollywood is creatively bankrupt. So obviously you have a bunch of children, especially these writers who continue to go on strike. They get upset when they can't write something, so they figure we're just going to remake it. Let me give you guys let me just explain to you guys what I mean by this. Let me move this thing right here. All right. Take the whole Idris Elba James Bond thing, which popped back up again this weekend. I have said this on multiple occasions when I talk about pop culture that I actually like Idris Elba. I think Idris Elba is an extremely good actor. Every film that he has played in that I have ever seen was pretty good. I mean, I remember him from the film Daddy's Little Girls. Pretty good. I also remember when he got his head blown off in American Gangster. Another solid film. Another solid film. I'm not saying I was glad he got the character he played was obviously pretty evil, but you know, you had Denzel Washington in that movie, and everybody loves Denzel, especially me. So you're obviously going to be rooting for Denzel, who was portraying Frank Lucas, who was actually born in LaGrange, North Carolina, not too far away from my actual home from where I'm from. The most successful African-American gangster is a North Carolinian. Just figure I'd throw that out there. But here's the deal. You see, the thing about James Bond is that obviously it's an iconic character that's been traditionally played by white English actors. Of course, Sean Connery was of Scotland. George Lazenby, I want to say he was from, somebody back me up in the comment section, but I think he was actually from Australia. Roger Moore is English, Pierce Brosnan was Irish, Timothy Dalton is English, and Daniel Craig is English. So here's the deal. You probably would not want to cast him in that role, but here's the thing. You could create your own story. I like the idea of the old 007 Rogue Agent series. I mean, they did make a video game at one point in time called Rogue Agent. Why not go with that there? An offshoot of James Bond. This right here was the agent that MI6 did not tell you about, and why don't you make a story based upon that? Of course, you know, when they kept on saying that James Bond could very, very well be a woman, that idea got shot down pretty quick because people were already reacting to it, myself included. Of course, the character that they had in No Time to Die, obviously, how do I say this? Didn't exactly get the screen time that we all thought was going to get, and ended up emasculating being very emasculating towards James Bond. Of course, they killed the character off. I'm sorry I spoiled that for you, but they decided to do that. Fact of the matter is that you can make your own story with the same actor. I mean, it just goes to show you that Hollywood is, in fact, creatively bankrupt. Which is kind of what happened with The Little Mermaid. You see, I got to agree with the guy. You see, the thing is this right here. You could have made this whole thing its own story. You seriously could have made it its own story. Like, you seriously could have made this its own thing. You could have written a cast, a brand new story. You could have said it's another mermaid who comes from a different land under the sea. You could have done that. You could have done it in so many different directions. It just goes to tell me that Hollywood itself is, in fact, creatively bankrupt. They have nothing else to do. The coof broke them. I think they were broke before the coof. And then to go on top of that, all you're getting is remakes, which, of course, is something that another content creator here on the platform called. So, yeah, you could have made this entire thing something completely different. It may not have made the money that you were looking for it to make, but you probably could have had a smaller budget. To go on top of the smaller budget, anything that was made above budget would have been seen as a success. You could have possibly made sequels off of it. You could have possibly franchised it, and you probably could have made more films, okay? You probably could have made more money, and it could have possibly become a success. But because we have this massive obsession with race, we obviously cannot do that. You see what politics does to the brain? It actually shrinks the brain. You see what social justice warriorism does? It actually shrinks the brain, makes it much, much smaller and less and less creative. That's kind of what happened here, and I think we're seeing that on full display. Guys, John Claymore here. If you guys like this content, please hit the like button, subscribe, share the video. If you think that I did a good enough job to earn your subscription, please subscribe, especially if you're new here. Also hit the notifications bell and leave a comment in the comment section. Share it with your friends. Share it to Facebook. Share it to social media. And I will see you guys later.